rising, we're finding our groove. Solution smart, support that shines. We're leveling up one sale at a time. Together we rise, no need to guess. With knowledge and tools for real success. Retail mastery, let's thrive. Brought to you by Coreware.
We're live. Hey, Greg, I didn't know if you know or not, but we are live.
We're live.
And I've got stuff happening outside my house, just happened while I was going to get my my drink to go along with my shirt. Got a special shirt for our series here. So, oh, no, Siri, stop. Hey, so everyone. Greg, I am so sorry, man.
Hey, it's all right.
It's what happened. I'm starting to get nervous now because everything's just falling apart. No, everyone, we are so glad you're here for episode 3 of Retail Mastery. This is going to be a really fun one because we're going to not be so down. That's why I got the happy shirt. Everybody's happy. So we're not going to be down. We're not going to talk about, depressing things. We're going to talk about creative things that you guys can do to really up your promotions game. And I'm assuming that's what we're going to talk about because I've read your outline, Greg, because you still do outlines. I don't really work with a whole lot of people that do outlines. So it's really nice to be able to look at that and know what we're going to talk about. So can you give us a brief outline of your outline of what we're going to be talking about and what we should learn today?
Yeah, let me outline that for you. Absolutely. So today we're really going to talk about promotions and inventory and the relationship between the two. We all have the urges when we're looking at cash flow, when we're seeing the bank accounts, we're seeing the inventory on our shelves to generate cash. And what I'd like to talk about today is how do we do that the most intelligent way possible? What are some tips and tricks we can do to make sure that our promotions have a purpose and it's not just a slash of the price, get it down? Going to talk about, really tracking them. That's another thing. ROI. You want to make sure what you're doing actually matters. So yeah, it's going to be maybe a little more informal than some of my last. I am an outline guy. I like to have the structure, but this is something that's very exciting, I'm very passionate about it simply because it makes a difference in your bottom line. It helps your cash flow. It allows you to free up inventory. But I guess the overarching theme of the entire talk is going to be the relationship between your inventory and your promotions, how they should work together, how you can track them, how they can help you operate more efficiently.
Nice. And again, I did some fun things too. So if you ever find an opportunity and you need to go, take a breather or a drink, because I know you have some shot glasses lined up there, feel free. And I'll pick up one of those robots and kind of go over that briefly because, again, this stuff, Greg, for all the knowledge that you have took, 2.5 decades to acquire, right?
Yep.
And now we have these partners that take a few seconds to acquire all of that knowledge. So there are ways that you can go about what Greg's going to talk about today in a very efficient way. I mean, you're going to be able to do things that you didn't know were possible because you walk in your store and you see all these products, right? And it's like, man, this is just overwhelming. Like, you kind of get a ebb, you know, the ebb and flow of sales and you know what moves and what doesn't, but to really get that strategic view, you can do that now in seconds and be able to do some of the things that you're talking about. So with that, Greg, I'm going to mute myself in case everything blows up here.
Yeah. So I guess taking that from what I just talked about, the best place to start is really going to be in the inventory. I mean, our promotions are going to drive, hopefully, additional business. That's another thing we'll talk about. But really where I believe it all starts is in your inventory, knowing your inventory, understanding your inventory. So where I always like to begin when deciding what the next promotion should be is what is going to be what the promotion, what's going to be on promotion, and running inventory reports, getting an understanding of your inventory. And not for Joel to jump in yet, but he'll show you some of these tools that can help you with this as well. But first thing I would encourage everyone to do is really understand, what do you have in your store that is not moving? And that can be different for each individual operator. It may be, you've got very high turn depending on the product mix and selection that you have. And so for you may turn an item 5 times a year. And for turns, when I talk about that, it's how many times are you selling that amount of inventory of that particular product within a year. So you're going to turn it 5 times, or other ones may be a different model, and it may be two turns a year are good for your unique setup. So again, you'll hear me say this consistently throughout all of these talks. I'd benchmark some things for yourself, run some inventory reports, see how many you're selling in a year versus how many you're keeping in stock. If you've got 100 of something in stock and you're selling 50 a year, obviously we have a problem, and you've just got good cash sitting on your shelves right there. So the first step, know your inventory. Go into your inventory, understand what is distressed inventory. And again, that may be a different definition depending on how your business is set up. But I'd say a good place to start is anything that's been in your store for 60 days, more than 60 days, certainly is the list of items that I would approach first when thinking about, okay, what should I put on promotion? And again, it serves you multiple purposes at that 60-day mark. Likely you've already paid for it, so the cash is already gone. That inventory is literally just sitting on your shelf as more cash that you can take, get that cash back, even if it is at a little bit of a discounted margin. And then you can pour that into your inventory that is turning more, that maybe you've got some opportunities that you don't carry enough of something. You've got out of stocks on it, or, you've seen where it sells really well then and it doesn't sell really well later, and you need to plus up in the winter, that kind of things, those kind of things, excuse me. So that's where I'd start, is get yourself a list of products that you think or that you see have not moved. Once you have that list, then it's like, okay, let's decide, what is our objective? Every promotion needs to have an objective. It's, I want to clear this inventory, or I want to increase sales. There's times too where there's opportunities. It's not to clear out the inventory you have. It's literally to bring more people in to purchase more of that, sometimes at a price that is close to your full margin even. And when we talk about types of promotions, I think all of us as human beings, it's like, what moves people? Low price moves people. Low price moves people. Well, sure, low price does move people, but that's not always the best solution for your business. So I would encourage you to really look into bundles. And I'm sure everyone's heard, yes, create a bundle, create a buy one, get something else for free. Do it strategically. Take one of your top selling items, and if you've got an item that isn't moving as much, that you have excess inventory of, those are the type of connections that you want to look for those bundles that can add the value. You can get kind of kill two birds with one stone in that scenario, where if you could put a distressed item with your top seller, you keep your margin at your top seller, because you want to protect that margin. That's another important thing about all of this. A race to the bottom, no one wins. We can all discount, but then we all just end up working harder collectively, competing against each other, where we're making single-digit margins, and it hurts. It's harder to operate. You have to sell more things. You have more labor costs. You have more physical costs, receiving costs. Obviously, the cost of an item is going to be a lot greater than just that cost that we see in our systems. It's all of the additional work that takes getting that item up there, and the cost of capital. Excuse me, the cost of capital of keeping that item on your shelves, not allowing that money to be able to work for you. So, getting control of the inventory and using the promotion strategically is really where we want to be at the end of this. So, talking about promotions that work. Promotions that work generally are going to have you're going to have some information behind it, I guess, is how you're going to know it's going to work. And I know we all have to trust our guts. I'm a big numbers guy. I believe in numbers, but I also believe in, you all know your business. You know what your customers are doing. So I want to be clear in that I'm not saying only trust the numbers. Trust your gut too, but test it. And you don't have to go out to a huge group first. You can always run selective promotions, get some information back, and see if it increased your sales. And I say increase your sales, and really what we should all be tracking is increase your profit margins. So perfect example, we've got, a firearm, $500. We make $100 on it. We sell it for $600. We buy it for $500. We put it on sale, at $550. We sell, 50% more. Well, guess what? When we sold that 50% more, our margin dollars at that, 50, taking the $50 off, are less than it would have been if we would have just had our regular sales for that week. So we all feel good about the rah, more in sales, less in actual money that's going to hit your pocket. So that's where, again, common theme, just make sure you have a plan, make sure you have a purpose, test it, use your customer groups. We're all collecting information from our customers. Maybe this is another topic we could touch on one day, but segmenting those customers based on their purchase history, understanding who they are, that is the most valuable thing that you can do. I mean, if you know what your customers are purchasing and what appeals to them, you can get to a level where you're sending, very targeted promotions to small segments of your audience. And I know, this is a little bit more work, but the benefit is just tremendous. So knowing your customer base, testing these promotions, you don't have to go out to everybody. Send out a promotion to 500 of your customers. Of that, give them a unique coupon code. When it comes back, when they use the coupon code, track that coupon code, track your sales, figure out how many people you came in, how many times do they come in generally in a year? Did you move them in your mind? And you're going to have to play with it a little bit. But this is where I think, some of these robots, maybe, and Joel's got me calling them robots now, but some of these robots can really help you dive into some of the analytics of your business, or some of the analytics might be extreme, but some of just the tendencies and the trends within your business. So another group that I'd really focus on, if you have a VIP level, if you have a membership level, if you have, some segment of customers that are paying for some sort of benefit within your organization, those are your most loyal people. They genuinely want you to succeed because you're their place. And that's where we all want to get. So with those people, I'd encourage you to test those groups very frequently as well, with some special offers. They're more inclined to come in on a whim and spend because you have that relationship with them. So always remember to leverage that group of people, and they appreciate it. It's nothing nefarious when I say leverage that group of people. They want to know what's going on. They want the best deals. Giving them an exclusivity is a big thing in promotions. Limited quantities, only available for these customers. That creates the sense of urgency. And whenever you can create a promotion with a sense of urgency, you will see better results than if there is no sense of urgency. So I'd always encourage you to think, where can you put in limited stock? Where can you put in the, this is only available to you, customer, or to your small group. You fit the mold of the person that gets this deal. It's personal, and that's nice. And I apologize, I'm bouncing a little bit here, but as you do these tests, make sure you know what that did to your business. What was your baseline? What was the improvement or decline? That's the other part. And that's why I say start small, figure out what works. And then once you have that game plan, once you know what works, that's when you can expand out and do that to a bigger audience when it strategically makes sense. That all makes sense, Joel. I know I get rambling sometimes.
No, it does. And something hit me while you were talking about that. And obviously, you're here to teach retail, right? And we often think that retail is just product and, you know, money, right? And while you were talking about segmenting, you know, your different customers, it just dawned on me. It's like we need to have a paradigm shift in the way we think. And your money's not in your product, your money's in those people. So, you know, given those people, the people that come in your shop, that walk around, that are picking product up and looking and talking to your employees and whatnot, that's where the money is, you know. And a lot of times business people may they'll look at reports and they'll look at, like you're the numbers guy and all this other stuff. But man, there's a human being that has a pocket full of money that you want them to give you. And you just need to know how to talk to them and give them that experience. So that, I know that wasn't what you were going for, but I think it just dawned on me that, you know, business is not this cold, you know, lifeless thing. Business is all those people in your shop as well. So I'm glad you went on that tangent, because I would have never, you know, come to that conclusion otherwise. Even though it seems elementary, you know.
You're right, though, in the fact that I guess to expand on that, you don't need that many customers to make your business successful. They genuinely care about you. It is a relationship. And that's one of the cool things about this industry is you get more of that relationship than you do in other industries. You know, nobody cares about the store where they buy their kids soccer ball. You know, it just doesn't matter. But you know what? Most of our customers care about where I'm going to purchase my new gun, where I'm going to go shoot, where I'm going to get my ammo. There's a real emotional connection, and they want to see us succeed. That's the other part. So yeah, establishing those relationships, talking to those customers, how they want to be talked to, will do wonders for your business. Another thing, just kind of talking about here, is really getting into understanding these returns when you're doing these. And I know I've touched on it a bunch here already, but when I say, you know, measure ROI, I guess to be very clear, what I'm saying is establish a similar time frame of which you're running this promotion. Run your sales reports during that time frame based on the items you have in promotion, sales and margin, over the same amount of days, similar time period. And when I say similar time period, I mean, don't run one of your base time when it's 4th of July weekend, because you know you're going to have more customers. You know sales are going to be up. So you want to try to isolate the variables as you test. Another thing is leveraging your sales staff. Your sales staff, we've all been there. They come in on a Saturday. They maybe work only weekends. The promotion's running Friday through Sunday. They don't even know what the promotion is that's going on behind the counter. You know, they're just selling guns, you know, doing whatever they need to do. Make sure your sales staff is educated every morning. Morning huddles, great idea. Get everybody together, tell them what it is. When you do a shift change, have someone responsible, whoever's your lead on the floor, or if it's yourself, make sure you tell that new staff, that new shift as they come in, hey guys, here's what we're running today. Here's what's the best deals. Here's where we stand, whatever it may be. And your salespeople will go out and push that, because that day, while they're there, that is going to be the easiest sales they can make. The things that are discounted, the things that have the extra, you know, mag with it, the things that, you know, have some real added value. So really just educate your staff. And I know it's a 101 type basic thing, but it's really easy to forget with as busy as we all are, as customers are running at us on a busy Saturday. Another point to that, and I keep forgetting my point. I just had it in my outline, Joel. This is where the outline gets me. But making sure that, well, I had the thought, now I've lost it. Turning into cash, getting into, I'm trying to think of the best way to say it, promotional planning. That's what it is. After you've run your tests and you've got your promotions, you've got your promotions that kind of work. Plan out these promotions. Do a 60-day calendar. Now, you don't want this 60-day calendar to be public in any way, shape, or form, or what you're going to do is just push your sales into those windows and reduce your margins. But for you or your plan, whoever's planning these promotions, that way you know what's coming. You can make sure you've got your tagging done, you've got signage printed and ready to go, you've got your full list of items, you've got the inventory purchased for the increase in sales because we've already tested it. We know it's going to increase in sales, so we've made an additional buy to support that this weekend. Those, after this, if you can have a promotional calendar based on your testing that you've done, you will see success. There's no doubt in my mind. I've seen it across industries, and it really does work. It's another thing where people think it can be more complicated than it is. It's really not. Test it. Once it works, have faith in it, get it out there, and have a plan, execute it, and let everybody know. That is again, seems silly, but it absolutely will work. Joel, you want to jump in and show any of those? Tools?
Yeah, because I'll just tell you guys what I did. Greg sent over, and this is what I encourage all of you to do. I mean, you can obviously use the robots, we build. If you've got if you're signed up to ChatGPT, it's that easy. I mean, you just click on the link, and then you can start questioning the bot. But you could do what I do. Greg sends me his outline. I go have an initial conversation with the robot and tell him what I want to do and say, I want you to pull everything out of this thing and help me to create some custom GPTs that will really help, firearms retailers maximize all the profits and really be creative with their promotions. And that's why, as you're talking, I'm like, man, all this stuff sounds familiar. And it's like, no joke. The robot told me these are the robots that we're going to build, based upon what you're talking about. So this stuff's really magical. And I'll show you real quick. I want to go to the one that we were talking about earlier, margins. Let me share my screen here. Because obviously margins are very important. So let me find margins here. And I'll share links to these 3 robots. But what I would encourage you to do is you go build your own, because your business better than we do. Obviously, because you're in that shop and you're looking at these customers and what's going to resonate with them. But what I built is a margin protector, and I'm just going to put this prompt in because obviously this is how you would start out with a new robot. Like, hey, what can you do for me? And what do you need from me to help you to do that? So that's basically what I did. Give me an example of how you can help me and tell me what info you need to get started. So this is what a margin protector is going to do. And remember, you've got all the data. So you could literally take a report of whatever kind of sales report you want to run, right? Upload it to a bot like this, and then just start having a conversation with it. Like, well, what can we do? I want to protect my margins. And you can see it's pretty smart. Let's say you're thinking about putting a Glock 19 Gen 5 on sale. You tell me. You're going to give them the information, the name, the cost, the retail price, and your desired margin, and then it's going to calculate, right? It's going to do current margin is 28.4%. You're below your desired 35%. Instead of discounting it further, I'd advise against a direct price drop. Here's what I might suggest: bundle offer. What did you just talk about, Greg? Bundles, right? Buy a Glock 19 Gen 5, get a $29 cleaning kit. Your cost is $8 free. Perceived value rises, but your effective margin remains strong, about 26.9%. Much better than a deep discount. Or do a gift card promo. Buy this Glock, get a $25 store credit. And then it just kind of goes into how this, what it needs specifically. And again, you can literally take a report and just explain to the robot what the report is, right? And say, I want to look at some of my margins, and just start having that conversation with the robot. Greg, does any of this stuff make sense to you? Is the robot smart?
I think the robot, he's got some ambitious margins there of a desired margin of 35%. That's my only gripe. But no, the content's great. Absolutely. And that's where this is giving you the ideas, Joel, that to test, right? So you could
Right.
try the free cleaning kit with a segment of customers. You could take a different segment of customers and then try the gift card or the store credit, and you
Right.
can see, okay, which one produces more results. I love the cleaning kit. The cleaning kit's great. Like the robot says, costs you $8. So now you're
Right.
able to, show a much larger value, and
Yes.
you're only eating $8 of that margin. It's huge. And the cleaning costs, we all know, the cleaning kit's a perfect example, simply because it's lightweight, it's easy, it's inexpensive. You've got them in the back. It's very easy to throw on. There's limited risk. So yeah, that's a great idea. I think that's good feedback.
Yeah. So it's just little things like this that you guys can use. And I'll share one more real quick. Um, same prompt. Actually, let's go to the promotional planner. One of the bots that, your outline suggested was a promotional calendar, right? Like you just mentioned.
Mhm.
So you guys, you can literally do that with something like this, because if you just give the robot, your sales data and tell it what you want to do, it's going to know what moves, when it moves, and it's going to be able to, plan out exactly what Greg was talking about, which was really, it's stuff's really impressive. So basically what we're doing is we're marrying up the digital and physical worlds, right? Because Greg's got all this knowledge, but we can only do so much with it. But we go to a robot and it's like, dude, I can do anything you ask me to do with words, right? And understanding and knowledge. And so that's what we're doing here. So this is the promotional planner. Example scenario, let's say you've got 12 Ruger 1022 rifles sitting too long, 40 boxes of 22 long rifle ammo, and some Glock 44s that haven't moved in weeks. I might suggest promo idea, Plinkers pack bundle. Buy a Ruger 1022, get a 500 round box of 22 long rifle at 50% off. Bonus, add a range bag or cleaning kit at 25% off for a complete setup. Again, those margins may not be what you're, it's just pulling, it's just giving you ideas. Obviously, it's not going to know your business, but you can go in and just have that conversation with it. Messaging hook, backyard plinking season is here. Grab your Ruger 1022 and load up. Limited time deal on bulk ammo when you buy the rifle while supplies last. There's that urgency, Greg. Then you've got optional add-ons. Run it as a weekend flash sale and Sunday or when they're gone. Use signage, gear up, and go. Ask about the Plinkers packet checkout. And then it says, what you need, and it's basically telling you how it would like the data. So literally, if you don't have the data in this format, you can say, I don't have that, but here's my most recent sales report for the month of April, right? And it's going to be able to do the same thing. So it's going to be able to really look at these things in an instant, whereas you may have to sit there and stare at a screen for an hour to figure this stuff out. So it's really cool stuff. I would encourage all of you just start playing with the stuff, and you're going to start figuring out different ways that you can plug it in to really help you. And I noticed that, let's see, Phil B, I am new, so still trying to figure it out. That as soon as you put that, I'm like, this stuff right here is perfect for you, because you don't have to do this alone. You can literally create the perfect business partner, somebody that's looking out for your margins, somebody that's being creative for your promotions, somebody that's saying, hey, I can plan it out for you on a calendar. Here's what we need to do. And then somebody that says, hey, I can create the emails that will get the message out and then create that sense of urgency. Again, this stuff's is, if you've got an imagination, you can do it. And what if you don't know anything about robots? Michael, I'll put my email address in the chat here. You email me, man. I will do anything I can to help you. It's not hard. If you know how to Google, you know how to use a robot, right? And once you pull that initial thread of kicking off that conversation, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. This is so easy. And there's nothing I can't do. So yeah, I'll put my email address. Feel free to email me. I'll spend any time that you guys want showing you what I know and helping you do whatever it is that you need to do to be a success. So that's all I've got, Greg. I've got one more bot, but we can do that at the very end. It's kind of the same thing, but it's just something we can end on.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I do want to bring up about the promotional calendar, and as you were using that bot, it kind of struck me. You don't want to train your customers to expect a promotion every weekend either. You want to mix up the cadence that promotions come out, because otherwise all you're doing again is pushing your sales from the week to the weekend at a lower margin. So, keep it nimble, and don't run it the third week of every month or every weekend or something on a regular schedule. Just make sure you're mixing up that cadence, because it will your customers, then again, getting back to the sense of urgency, they'll know, okay, gosh, deal's out, I got to buy now, I don't know the next time this is going to be on sale. Some big organizations I've seen in the past, perfect examples, Dick's Sporting Goods actually created a National Runners Month, and they decided they were going to put running shoes on sale every single month because it was the best month that they ever sold running shoes. Well, guess what? The next month we had higher sales, lower margins, and we're all getting chewed out on a call. Like, what's going on, guys? Why are margins so far down? Well, it's because now the customers don't buy anything in January, February. They wait until March, and March just blows up, and we can't get there. So don't train your customers. Keep it nimble, keep it going, and just always I know I've probably said it too much, but margin is the goal. Not, I guess, 100% of the times. There are times where you're trying to clear out bad inventory, but on promotions where you're trying to increase sales, is what I even say as I'm sitting here talking, you really are trying to increase your margins. And if you're not trying to increase your margins, you should have a specific plan or objective that you are trying to accomplish, whether that be clear out the old inventory, increase foot traffic, a longer term plan where you're going to get people in at a loss leader, right? Loss leaders, I imagine most of us are familiar with those, but Black Friday is a perfect example where people have loss leaders, Best Buy, Walmart, everybody, to where they are losing money on these items, but they're going to make it up in the additional sales that come in. I'm not a huge fan of loss leaders in our industry.
Real
Yes.
quick, because I know, I mean, it's not that I wasn't born knowing what a loss leader is, but it took me a while. Can you explain briefly what a loss leader is to people that may not even? Yeah.
For sure. A loss leader is a product that you put on promotion, put on sale, that you are actually selling at a loss, but you're going to lead the ad with that in order to generate traffic. The idea behind it is everybody's going to come for this loss leader, but you know what? They're not only going to buy that. Our average transaction, or average items per transaction, say it's 3.2 items. And we know we're going to make, 35 points on average on the other two items. And on this one, we're going to lose 5 points. But overall, they're coming to our store on a day that, generally they may not be here. It actually, the idea of the loss leader is to get more traffic, more sales through other items. That makes sense?
Perfect sense. It's just a draw, right? Just drawing them in. Hey,
Draw
but I am learning real quick. It's all coming. I mean, this whole thing, like, I know that if you have a gun shop or a gun store or range or whatever, you got into it and your focus may have been on product and, product placement and all this other stuff. And it, I think the whole thing is more about the human that has the money that you're trying to get from that person than anything else. I mean, margins are absolutely important. All that stuff's important, but you gotta, like, and everything you're saying, Greg, it's just making this light go off on my head. It's like, man, maybe we're looking at everything wrong, because we go in the shop and we look at the product and we're like, and we don't look at all these people with these fat wallets walking up and down our aisles. It's like, how do I get those people, to do what I want them to do, which is support us, right? So
absolutely.
Again, I don't know. This may be, common knowledge to everybody out there. It's just hitting me extra hard right now. Like that just understanding human behavior and really learning how people react, and not in an evil way, but,
no,
and good experience.
Absolutely. And I mean, they look at your business as someone they have a relationship with, whether it's the individual that's behind the counter, whether it's you, who's on this call, whoever it is, they truly look at your business. There is a much greater emotional relationship that exists. And part of being a good partner in that relationship is thinking about what do they want? What makes the experience better? And not to the level that you were just talking about, Joel, but another thing is just silly things. You said floor placement, and it the light bulb went off in my head. That's the other thing, is when they come in, help them find what you're promoting. Put it on an end cap front and center as soon as they walk in the door so they can see it. Or there's an alternative. I'd test it like we've talked about. Try it that way one week and then put it at the back. Grocery stores make you walk all the way to the back to get the milk, eggs, ground beef, because you got to walk through all those other aisles of fruit roll-ups and, candy and Hershey bars before you get there. So, I am a huge believer in the firearms retail business is retail business, and we can rip off and duplicate good old R&D with what these grocery stores, big box retailers, all these people have spent millions and millions, probably billions of dollars on market research and understanding all that, So truly, I encourage you guys, walk through a Costco, and I know Costco is maybe a little bit different, but there's things you pick up on. How are they promoting things? How do they let their members know this is a good deal? Where are they putting things? That kind of thing. Any good retailers that you enjoy shopping at, go shop at them, see what you like about it, and then implement it into your own plan.
That's an awesome suggestion. So anytime any of you guys out there, you run a shop, you run a range or whatnot, anytime you go, it's like a dude going in and like looking for, where am I going to get out and where am I, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Any retailer that goes into another store, you need to be doing that. You need to be like, how are they doing this? And man, you notice traffic patterns and whatnot. That's really cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing what the small improvements you can make in your business that'll make a huge difference at the end of the year. I mean, we all know the margins we work on in this industry are a lot lower than much other, with firearms being the driving force in most of our businesses at the lowest margins. So everybody talks about accessories and trying to get those increased. I've said talk about margin a lot. Don't get hung up on percentage, though, too. Talk margin dollars. Margin dollars are ultimately what go into the bank account. So you certainly need to know your margin percentages. But if you sell a cleaning kit at 40 points at $9, $9 cost, yes, you're going to make a higher percentage. But guess what? If you do sell that Glock 19 from the earlier example at 20 points, you're going to make a heck of a lot more money on that Glock 19 than you are on the cleaning kit. So I know it may sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but what I guess I'm saying is just make sure you know what the margin dollars and margin percentage are, and they're both important. But ultimately, margin dollars are what hit the bottom line and what end up back in the bank account at the end of the day.
So since margin is one of the most commonly used words in this episode, I'm hearing.
Yes. Yes.
Would that be something that we could literally do an entire webinar on?
We really could, Joel. Yes, we could get some mock P&Ls and work through some stuff. That makes a lot of sense.
So look for that in the next month.
Yeah, maybe. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Margins.
No, that'd be great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they're so important. I mean, I think it's absolutely worth it. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've got for today. I don't have a fancy wrap up. Hanging out with Joel, I don't follow my outlines as much as I used to, which is hopefully a good thing for you all. Well, I did.
Blame me, man.
I did.
I've grown my whole entire life has been the guy. It's his fault because I was around him. Hey, Caleb, I noticed that you asked that question. Hey, I'm sure there is. You say, is there a way to store? I guess I could just put this up there. Is there a way to store data or share data in a region? Meaning, if someone within 100 miles of me is running a promo, I may not want to run a promo at that same time. That's again where all of these AI tools come into play. I know a really good tool is Perplexity. Is a really awesome tool. It's actually going out and providing sources, even though ChatGPT is starting to do that a lot more. Perplexity is really good at it. So you could literally say, hey, I want to know, are there any, promos being run for this particular firearm in these cities, and it's going to go out immediately all over the interwebs and pull that information back for you. So that's everything's pretty manual right now, but as we go along, if you've got that idea, right, you or someone like you will absolutely go create a bot that will do that. And it's probably not going to cost you anything. It's just going to go out, get the information that you need, and then again, help you. That's why I'm such a proponent of people right now starting to use the tools that are available to you. I know a lot of people think, well, it doesn't do that, right? Because they have this unrealistic expectation of what AI should do. AI requires a little work, does not require as much work as doing it without AI at all, but it does require a little bit of work. So just start using those tools, and I bet you find a solution.
I'll give you a low tech. I'll give you a low tech solution to that as well, or lower
Okay.
tech than that. If you know, go out to who you think are your competitors, or who you've identified as your competitors. Sign up for their email lists. They're gonna send you their promos as they come along. Now, obviously, that may conflict with your calendar, but they, you know, like I said earlier, I wouldn't send out your email lists early or your sales early, which
Right.
a lot of retailers do. So it still gives you that time within that week to pivot if you need to pivot. Doesn't answer everything, but certainly gives you more insight than you'd have otherwise.
I can't stand people that are really gifted at breaking something down into its simplest form. That really made me mad, Greg. I mean, that was like a nuke, man. Like I was
I don't
like,
know about
how freaking simple is that?
I don't know about that, Joel. Going to a chat bot and just saying, "Hey, look at this for me." That's pretty simple too. It's just another way to skin that cat.
Wow. No, that would be the way I would do it. And I would probably not drive there. I'd probably just visit them online.
Yes, yeah. And I would not use your domain of your store. I'd use your personal
Right.
email at Gmail.
Yes,
That's
yes.
another one.
Go on and
Yeah.
create an email. Like, this is for trash at yahoo.com.
Exactly.
No, that's really good. Well, I'm excited because I know that you are very, very passionate about margins. And when I saw that, I'm like, man, this could be something really, really good, because I think this is going to be like, not to scare anybody off, but this is like algebra or calculus for sales, right? Margins. If you master margins, that's what we're going to call it. Mastering those margins. If you master those margins, man, you can do some magical things within that shop, you know?
Yeah, you can do less in sales and be more profitable. I mean, think about that. If you really think about it for a second, do a lower number of sales and have more money in your pocket. That's insanely powerful. And then you get less expenses because less sales, less work behind the scenes to get that to it. So yeah, margins are just paramount to success in this business.
Well, you've given everybody an inside look at what our next retail mastery series is going to be. Not series, but that's going to be an episode. Margins, mastering margins. So does anybody else have any questions? I'm going to put my email address here for you guys. Please reach out. If I can do anything, I am not shy about this stuff. This is the most empowering thing to happen to the average person since Colt came out with the freaking Peacemaker, right? This levels the playing field between you and those massive retailers that are doing, you know, just massive amounts of business. You're able to do this stuff. And if I can do anything to help, I will absolutely do it. Coreware is completely behind you guys. We want you to succeed, obviously, because when you're succeeding, we're succeeding, obviously. And it's just, this stuff's fun. It should be fun, right, Greg?
100%. It's a blast. I'm telling you, it's so much fun when you run a promotion and then you see the results. I mean, that truly is an adrenaline rush when you're like, I did this. I love that. So it's tons of fun for me, Joel.
So there you go. Exciting stuff. That's right. Retail.
Did you want to
say again?
Oh, I was just going to say, did you want to show that last?
Yeah, let's go. I'll do the last one. It's the same thing, but it's just obviously it's going to do something a little differently. So this is inventory to cash. And when I was looking at the instructions, I noticed that it mentioned a report. So this would be the one that I would take the report and upload, and then just see what it does. And anytime I provide some sort of a bot, this is the best way to use it. Just go ask it. Give me an example of how you can help me, and what information do you need from me for you to begin helping me. So this is a sample scenario of what it can do. You run a firearms retail shop and share your aged inventory report. There you go. I analyze it and find Taurus G3C pistols. You got 10. They've been on the shelf for 150 plus days. Your AR-15 parts kit, you got 15 of those. High quantity, zero movement in 120 days. And then you got the 45 ammo, 20 boxes, priced above market and slow moving. What I do, it will flag these as high risk inventory due to age, poor sell through, and a capital tie up. And then it's going to recommend liquidation tactics like bundle the Taurus G3C with a holster and a box of ammo, everyday carry starter pack. Running a 48-hour clearance sale on the AR-15 kits with tiered pricing. Moving the 45 ACP to a range member special or online promo. It'll estimate recovered cash flow. If sold at proposed discounts, you might recover $3,200 in tied up capital. I mean, that's the point. It literally can do that. These robots, if you just, program it right, starting off, it literally can figure out. It may make connections, no matter how long you've been in the business. It may make connections that you would never make. And it'd be like, oh my gosh, that is a brilliant idea. I'm going to start bundling these items together, because it's able to look at your sales history and all this other stuff and make suggestions on, here's how you do it. And imagine, Greg, once we start talking to the robots about margins, because then it's going to really be, because margins, again, when I said, I'm not trying to scare anybody off, but it's like calculus or, algebra or whatever. Because it is, I mean, you really do have to do a little math, but if you've got a robot that knows what you want your margins to be and understands your business, it's going to be able to spit out stuff very quickly. And then if you have a low sell month, your revenue just is miraculously up. How? The robot's helping you. So, again, this will tell you what you need. They're all pretty much the same. I think, Greg, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the rest of those that it suggested, because a lot of them, they all have to do with exactly what you covered here. And I think it would just be pertinent. So you guys look out in our core weekly coming up this Thursday or Friday. I'll include a link to these robots, and they'll all pertain to doing what Greg's talking about now. And don't forget, we also provide a Webby. And a Webby is our little robot that you can watch the webinar with. And as you're going along, if you have a question, it may be able to answer. I mean, it may be able to look into the future and say, yeah, Greg actually spoke about so-and-so, so be sure to have that thing open while you're watching it. Again, this stuff does require a little time on your part, but like Greg said, it doesn't require the time, right? Just doing a little work is going to pay off in dividends, So, and we're here to help you. Greg, I am so glad you're doing this series. This has been fun, eye-opening. But again, I will end on this, and then I'll let you have the closing word. But the whole time you were talking, something flashed in my mind. It's like, it's all about the customer. And we've gotten away from that. Like when I came up in retail and grocery and all this other stuff, dude, I was a customer service freaking rock star. You know what I mean? I don't get the customers right? We just make it right. I know it's a little bit harder today because there's a lot of entitled people out there. But it really does revolve around getting that person in your shop to do what you want them to do, which is, buy this item. Right, without shoving it in their face. So that may be a future episode in this Retail Mastery series. Maybe we look into some psychological studies and customer behavior and all this other stuff, because what we all know is to buy something is an emotional process. It absolutely is an emotional process. So understanding that can help you better, present those items or whatever you want for sale. So, Greg, do you have any closing words? Do you want to like highlight what you've already highlighted, but what's the most important thing that you want people to walk away from this episode?
The most important thing is to run your promotions with a purpose. Have a purpose, track it, see if it was successful. Once it is successful, keep following that playbook until it's not, and then adapt. So just constant feedback back and forth with your consumers. The way the consumers give you feedback is through their wallets and what they're purchasing. So I just encourage everyone to make sure you're trying new things and you're tracking it, and then you're just repeating what works. And to kind of jump on what you talked about, customer service, we've talked about all these things, all this work that we have to do as operators in the backside to put that customer in the best possible position to purchase something from our store. So we've ran all these reports. We've done whatever marketing we're going to do, whether it's digital marketing, whether it's, email blast, whatever it may be. Somebody had to design it, all that stuff. We get that customer in the door. And that's where the customer service, where we have an opportunity, every one of us, to make a difference and finish it out right there. Because just as easily, after we've done all that work, if we walk in and somebody gives them attitude or doesn't have a good experience, see ya, I'm out of here. So it's like we've done 95% of the work and we just didn't finish that last part. So you're 100% right, Joel. The entire culture of everything has shifted away from customer service, and the customer's always right. And believe me, I know there are some interesting ones out there with a big old sense of entitlement. However, most of them are great. Most of them love your business. That's why they're there. They've received your message. They love your business and they're in the door. So capitalizing it on that when they're there is the difference between success and failure.
Right. And be smart enough to just know that, hey, if I just let this person vent or whatnot, he'll come back and buy another, $10,000 worth of stuff next year. Just who cares, right? Just there, you've got to be smarter than the customer, obviously. But yeah, that's really good. So what I hear you say is, what was it? Purposeful.
Purposeful promotions. Make sure you've got an idea behind it. You're not just slashing the price to, get false, it just makes us feel good. I mean, that's really a lot of retailers run promotions that may increase their top line, but don't touch their bottom line in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And that really doesn't help you unless your purpose is to just free up cash of dead inventory. And I know we're wrapping up, but that is another thing. With some of those, the robots saying, okay, you've got, these have been in stock for 60, 90 days, whatever, 150 days. That inventory at that point truly is cash. I mean, that's hard to kind of wrap. I remember when I first kind of approached that concept, I'm like, wait a second, but I paid for it. I mean, you have paid for it, but it is literally just sitting there. So at this point, you've already paid those bills. Those were months ago. It's all gone. It's doing you no good just sitting there if it's sitting for 6 months, unless, again, it's there with a purpose. Is it a showpiece? Is it a $10,000 custom gun that draws people in to look at? Okay, that may make sense to sit there. But if it's just a regular everyday item and it's sitting there, get it out. Run a twice annual clearance sale or, a quarterly clearance sale. Hopefully you're not having to run quarterly clearance sales, because that might be a look at what you're buying.
Right.
But yeah, just have a purpose.
And use that purpose for other things. Obviously, it's not just to move that gun that's been sitting there for 120 days. It could be for, hey, they've never been to your shop, right? Mm-hmm. So really make it an event for people when they come in. When you run a promotion, make it like, let them feel the electricity in the air when they walk in, be like, oh, this place is special,
Absolutely.
So guys, we're going to wrap it up. Greg, thank you so much. I want everybody to know we're going to have I'm going to do a AI webinar next week, probably be next Wednesday, I'm thinking. And for those that were asking, what if we don't know anything about robots? That would be the one to attend, because I'll just go through, I'll show you how to build a custom GPT, why you would want to do that, how to set up your memory and all that stuff. It's just a tool like this that's so inexpensive, can really pay off, so much more than what you're putting into it. So look for that. Look for the invitation for that. Again, I'll provide hopefully all of the bots that the robot told me that we should build for Greg's presentation. I think this has been awesome, and I'm really excited. Greg, do you think maybe 2 weeks we'll be able to do the mastering margins?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. Actually, it's going to have to be next Thursday.
Next Thursday will not work.
No, for me. Next Thursday, the AI, it's going to be it'll be next Thursday. We've got Core Force update live is going to be Wednesday. So thank you to my assistant for keeping my foot out of my mouth. That's really awesome. So Greg, do you have any closing words? Anything lighthearted? Do you like my shirt? What? I mean, anything.
I'll tell you what, I love that shirt, and I feel like next time you really do need to let me know. I could have rocked my Hawaiian shirt. We could have been coming in with style.
I am gonna start trying to change this up a bit. I think my last one I had the Army men. I don't know if you knew that it looked like a Hawaiian shirt, but it was little Army men standing everywhere. And it's really, I've gotten so many compliments when I go out in town, and mainly from females. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I love that shirt." I'm like, "How do you know about Army men?" But it's pretty motivating. So with that, guys, I don't have any final words. I don't have any closing words of wisdom, except for when that person walks in your shop, if you make them feel special, if you just listen to them, if you just really make them feel like they're the only person in the world, they're going to become a customer for life. It literally is that simple, right? And obviously, when to put your foot down. Somebody's a jerk and entitled, ignorant, whatever. Hey, man, you got to go. But 99% of the people out there are okay. So just treat them that way, make them feel special, and your business will be around forever. But with that, Greg, thank you so much. CEO of Buying Freedom Group. And I'm sure we're going to be doing a webinar on that in the coming weeks as well. So everybody stand by for that, because you were covering some things that would actually help, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, I wish we could just dive into that right now, but it's coming, y'all. So stand by.
Absolutely. Thanks, Joel. Thank you everyone for attending. I hope you get value and hope to continue to provide some more for you in the future. Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much. Seriously, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.
See you soon.